Gotta get mic'd up here. This brass off the Lyman Cyclone case dryer. The best case dryer that you can get. It's just a glorified dehydrator, but I tell you what really makes this just not a dehydrator. I mean, obviously I got numerous different trays here I could put on here. Easily get 200 pieces of 223 brass on each tray. 1,000 total pieces in here. Also, the heat element is on the bottom, and obviously heat rises. Some of these dehydrators have the heat element on the top. I highly recommend, if you don't get the Cyclone case dryer, make sure it has two things: heat element on the bottom, and also it's got a timer. This is kind of pricey. It used to be pretty affordable when it first came out pre-COVID. And what's also nice about this is it has a water trough. So no joke, if you guys are just joining us, this is a continuation of reloading for the 12-inch 6.5 Grendel. So I have some ammo to shoot along with Scott and his 20-inch 6.5 Grendel. And if you happen to miss the very first part of that reloading series yesterday, when this is done, you can go back and watch the first part of this. And it's kind of just a continuation, same stuff as what we went over with Scott, but I had, you know what, I'm on vacation. I figured I'd have you guys join me anyway. And after this last reloading event yesterday morning, I put this in the Frankfurt Arsenal stainless steel tumbler, and I have this loaded up with, I believe, 1.5 pounds of stainless steel Southern Shine. And this works amazing. Do not use pins. Pins are notorious for getting stuck in the case mouth openings of 6mm, 6.5mm bullet flavors. At least use that Southern Shine, and for me it's been working amazing. So Southern Shine stainless media, being that this was brand new brass, it wasn't dirty. I just put it in here enough to get the lube off the brass, and that was it. It only took less than a half hour. And took this out of here, put in this Cyclone case dryer, and like I said, this is ready to rock and roll. The temperature's set already for brass. It's got this water trough. You can literally just dump your wet brass right into this thing. All this water will collect into this trough, and it's just an amazing product. Matter of fact, check out the description box below. I'll have some of my affiliate links down there that help support the channel. I do get a little bit of a kickback. Trust me, it's not much, but it definitely does help because the good old YT doesn't make it easy on me. The same goes for the Frankfurt Arsenal tumbler. So, I'm going to grab my brass here, and I'm going to see who's already checking in, and I'm just having fun. I'm on vacation, and we're just going to chat. I'm just going to fly right through this too. Maybe you guys might learn something, maybe you might not, but Jerry Bear Tactical is already here, and he's saying good morning, Todd. And Big G is saying good morning, all. And if you're out there, especially if you're new, trying to learn how to reload, that's what I'm here to help you guys, to spread that freedom. And I see I got some, I have some specks of Varget in my FX120i that I'm going to get out of there before I go any further. And I'm just having fun. I have no real direction on this other than reloading 6.5 Grendel. So I have some ammunition to shoot along with Scott. I'm thinking we're actually going to shoot ours together, my 12-inch versus his 20-inch. And it's going to be interesting, I think, to see the difference between those two. It'll be a really fun video series. That's why I want to get this done before we head out there. And I should have that upper here next week. And if you didn't see yesterday's live event, it's the PSA 12-inch barrel and 6.5 Grendel. And it's got a 12-inch handguard. That should be here next week, so that's what I'm reloading for. Like I said, I want to get some ammo going here. So I have something to shoot along with Scott. So we both need to get Fireform brass rolling here. So Jim Learham's saying vacation, exclamation point, nice, enjoy. And that's what I'm doing. I have really nothing set, really nothing planned during this vacation. Get up and do whatever I want. Sometimes those are the best kind of vacations. You just kind of get up and do whatever the hell you want. So Korak84 is saying, morning, y'all. And Big G saying, I love that powder dropper. That's helped me drop to 8 SDs and some 338 Lapua, and that's awesome. It really is one of the most amazing powder drops. But I tell you, they have a new powder drop coming out, and it's not from Auto Trickler. It's called I think it's called the Super Trickler, I think. Let me see here. I think it's called the Super Trickler. Yeah, Trickler. Let me get you up close and personal here. I'm actually, wow, look at that. That's what I call an ad right there. Hell yeah. Let's see here. So let me click on Super Trickler. This is what I'm really interested in, is this trickler. I was all game for getting this new version 4 auto trickler. Let me see if he's got a video on here. And this thing is freaking awesome. If this works out the way they say it's going to work, I am probably going to get this. And what's really nice about this auto trickler, the Super Trickler, is it's got the display built right into the unit. And it's got AI in it. It's got some AI in it that will adjust the trickle for you so it's spot on every time. And if these guys continue on the route that they're going, they're going to knock this thing out of the park. And it just sits right on top of your FX120i. And I'm really, really looking forward to getting this. I think they're talking about getting this release by the end of the year here. And I think they said, don't quote me on this, but I think it's going to be around 500 bucks. And this Rex Peterson started this group called Super Trickler. If you're on Facebook, I highly recommend checking this out. And yeah, really, really excited about getting my hands on this. Here,
many of you suggest that the powder exit should not be in the back, but in the side.
And they're willing to listen to people.
Prototype with the side exits. And we have made a longer cable.
I actually suggested to him make a longer cable.
Empty it without disconnecting the cable. We still,
so that way, if you want to take it off, you don't have to disconnect it.
The powder cable. That's my suggestion. But let's see how it works. We take the powder.
So yeah, he's just showing it's discharging off the side.
Lift it off.
Let me see what else we got here. But yeah, it looks like they're just 3D printing these housings here. And man, it looks really, really awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on this. If they're cool enough to send me one, at least for T&E purposes, I'm all game. And it's supposed to drop within 0.02 accuracy, just like my FX120i with the Auto Trickler V3 unit. And it looks really, really awesome. So I'm really looking forward to getting that. So let me close that out. But yeah, getting back on track here. I just got to finish some brass prep here. And I'm just going to refresh this, make sure that my comments are running smoothly here. And like I said, if you're out there, you're new, got some questions, I don't care what kind of questions it is I'm reloading. Make yourself known. I'll try my best to answer them while I'm doing some brass prep here, at least up to dropping some powder. So yeah, let's get going. Enough of the babble talk. So I got this off the Lyman Cycle and Case dryer. So this is dry as a bone. Obviously, if you're new, especially if you're using a wet stainless tumbler, I'm going to try and seep powder primers here by the time I shut down this event. And you definitely got to make sure that these primer pockets are dry as a bone. I can't stress the importance of that. Making sure if you're using a wet tumbler that those primer pockets are dry. So definitely dry. That was sitting on there for roughly 2 hours. You know, it's kind of thing you just throw on the Lyman Cycle and Case dryer, set the timer, walk away, go go do something with your better half, or go have some fun, do some other shooting. So, Korak 84 is saying, any tips for loading Weatherby Mark IV rifles, 2508, 2506 and 33? You know, I'll be honest with you, I've never owned a Weatherby. I know Weatherbys and Remingtons, they have a very, very generous throat on them. I mean, when I say, if you're trying to, what I would play close attention to with Weatherbys and Remingtons, at least what I've been told from my friends that reload for them, they have such ginormous jumps on their bullets. When I see jumps on the bullets, when that bullet exits the casing, doesn't matter what it is. Well, I guess, let me rephrase this. If you jam the bullets into the lands, and the lands are, matter of fact, let me show you here. I'll show you exactly what the lands are, especially for those that are absolutely new. I actually have a barrel here. Let me see here. I actually got my Krieger barrel here. So here's my Krieger barrel. Waiting to get this going. And I don't know if I can do this. I'm gonna try. Turn on my bore scope here. I don't know if I'll reach that far. Suppose I could take this out of the barrel vise. Let me just take this out of the barrel vise here quick. This is just a tube. This is just a metal tube. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get this off camera so the good old YT doesn't freak the F out. So let me slide this barrel out here. All right, so I got, my barrel is right here. I'm gonna take the thread protector off the end. So I'm not touching it now. So here's the barrel, not touching it. So getting it back off the camera. And let me see if I can get you guys a little bit closer here. So grab my bore scope. Nothing like doing this live, right? So I'm gonna grab my cleaning cloth, clean this lens a little bit. That's what's nice about this Teflon bore scope. Matter of fact, I got a link in the description box below for that too, if you're interested in buying one of these, especially for, I think, roughly 40 bucks. They are freaking awesome. Let me see if I can get you guys even closer here. And I'll bring that camera right up to it, but I'm gonna get right into the crown here. Check out this crown. So right there, kind of checking out this crown here. Hasn't been shot yet. It's brand spanking new. That looks really, really good. No dents in the crown. That looks awesome. So I'm gonna slide you guys back in here for just a second. I'm gonna run this right down to the lands. All right, so try my best to do this live with two hands. But here is the start of the chamber. And here's the chamber. Here is the end of the body of the chamber where the neck starts. Here's the neck. Yeah, there's the neck. That's the end of the chamber, and this is your free bore. So this is where the bullet exits the brass and literally flies through the air. If you're not jamming the bullet into the lands, when I say the lands, this is the lands. That's the lands of the rifling. That particular rifling, you can see it looks just like a ramp, and that's what accepts the bullet into the rifling. As a matter of fact, I can twist this. I go to the next one. This is a 4-groove barrel. There's 4 of these, and each one on the lands glorified ramp for accepting the bullet into the rifling. It looks really concentric. This is a Krieger barrel. It's a very high-end barrel, something like a Bartling. Krieger, probably two of the best barrel companies known to man. This is a pre-fit barrel for an RPR. And what you can do is you can, when you seat those bullets, you can either have the bullet seated so far out of the casing to the point where the bullet literally touches the lands. The ogive radius of the bullet will come in contact with the lands of the rifling. Some guys, if you're an expert reloader, you know what you're doing, and I don't advise doing this, especially if you're new, you can actually jam the bullet into those lands. Usually I like to do what's, most guys usually start at 20 thousandths of an inch jump. So where the bullet literally flies through the air 20 thousandths of an inch, and then the secant radius of that bullet will come in contact with these lands and will accept that bullet down the rifle's bore. And those Weatherbees and Remingtons, no joke, they have such an extreme throat on them usually. They're factory barrels, and I've seen over an 1/8 of an inch jump on those Weatherbees and Remingtons. It's pretty insane. Let me get this Krieger barrel back out of here. And you got to keep an account for that. And some rifles, along with the bullet flavor that you pick, like to jump a lot. Some don't. I know Kenny with Eagle Eye Shooting, he's dealing with that 6 arc. And that particular 6 arc, especially in an AR platform, especially when you're restricted to magazine length. Let me just get this cap on here so the old wide T doesn't freak out. Not touching this, I'm just tightening this down. You know, that's why he's doing a custom reamer for that chamber in a 6 arc. So it has minimal jump. The problem with 6 arc, I've yet to see anyone with a factory 6 arc barrel, it's pretty rare at least, to be accurate. And a lot of times, because they have such ginormous freaking jumps on them, that they have a tendency to be inaccurate because of it. But Kenny, he's doing a custom throw on those so that they're more accurate. And that's why. And those Weatherbees and Remingtons usually have, like I said, well over 1/8 of an inch of jump. And I've seen that before. And like I said, sometimes a barrel and whatever bullet flavor you pick likes to jump that far, and sometimes they don't. You just don't know until you test it out. Let me guys get you down here a little bit better. So that's just something you got to test, but that's something I would definitely keep an eye out for, correct, in regards to reloading for a Weatherby or any Remington to that fact. Those freaking jumps are insane on that. I've seen that before, especially in AR-10s. You know, they have a ginormous jump on those barrels for the bullets. So hopefully that answers your question, gets you in the right direction. But yeah, let's get this going here. I got to get this trimmed up. This should be already set for 6.5 Grendel on my World's Finest Trimmer 2. It's going to double check. In the Horny manual, I believe it was, like I said, I'm just enjoying my day off, my vacation, and looking for 6.5 Grendel here. I should have this tag, but I don't. It's page 328. God, my eyesight's getting bad the older I get. .328, so 6.5 Grendel. And I kind of touched base with this last time. They got a maximum case length of 516. Usually it's 10,000 inch back from that, 506. So usually I'm shooting for, you know, 509, 508-ish, somewhere around there. I'm gonna set this book off to the side and measure some of this brass in regards to the length of the casing. Make sure I'm zeroed out. So before I start my session, I always check with my one piece of brass. I know it's 1.750. So right on the money there, 750. And yeah, 510. So 510. 510. 509. That's usually what I'm going to be shooting for, around that 509. They're recommending 506, 510, so most likely these are going to get trimmed up. So 511, that one's pretty long. So just to show some of you guys that are new, I'll probably shoot for that 508, 509. Like I said, we already got this set up for Scott's 511, so a lot of these are going to get trimmed. So you gotta make sure that your trim lengths are consistent. And like I said, this rides off the datum line, or the datum line is the, if you were to draw a line from the top of the shoulder to the bottom of the shoulder, a line right in the middle of those 2 points, that's your datum line. And this rides off the headspace. So I'm curious if this is going to get trimmed. This is 509. Just double check that. 5085. God, I need a bigger bench. So that's definitely getting trimmed there. You can see it's got a nice shiny case mouth opening now. See if that's down to 509, which it is, 509. So let's set these off to the side. So this is 508, so that's definitely not going to get trimmed. 510 most likely will get trimmed. So yeah, let's see what happens here. So yep, nice shiny case mouth opening. It's got a nice fresh cut. It's got a harsh cut now because it got trimmed. So 509. So yeah, I think I'm just going to give her hell here so we're not sitting here all day long. If you got any questions, let yourself be known, especially in regards to reloading. I'll try my best to answer your questions. And you can see I'm using the EP Integrations lockdown reloading block here. And make sure you're wearing your safety glasses when you're doing this. Last thing you want is a piece of brass filing in your eye, because trust me, I've done that before and it sucks. And the reason why you want to make sure you're trimming your brass consistently is for consistent neck tension. So if one piece has a longer neck than the other, the longer neck is going to have more neck tension. So you can see some of these, like this one here, it's got a, usually when you use stainless steel media to clean, you'll get what's called painting of the case mouth opening. The Southern Shine media, or whatever stainless steel media you're using, will put little micro dents into the edge of the case mouth opening here. I wish this would zoom, but it doesn't on a live event for some stupid reason. But you can see it's not a nice fresh cut on here. And if this is long enough to get trimmed, you can see it's nice and shiny now. So it's got a nice shiny, abrasive, fresh cut to the case mouth opening, which we're going to have to chamfer and deburr and all that good stuff. Unless you use something like the Grout Tri-Way trimmer or the benchtop trimmer or something like a Henderson Precision trimmer. My opinion, probably the best trimmer that you can buy, but then again, it's $900 awesome. So yeah, I'll show you that here once I get these 50 pieces done. So go through these as fast as I can. This is brand new brass, so a lot of these won't even get trimmed. Some will get trimmed. Yeah, I'm just enjoying my vacation, you know, just really get up, and if I feel like doing something, I'm going to do it. If I don't, I don't. Probably do a little yard work, might do some kayaking. figured I would have you guys join me here. At least getting my ammo squared away for my 12-inch 6.5 Grundle. So I could really feel the resistance on this as I was cutting it. So you definitely can feel it through the brass. And my left hand here it's cutting that excess brass off. So I'm just gonna quick double check this. So zeroed out. So 5085 right there at 509. That's really good. Just at this point, we just give her hell. So we're about halfway through. And you can see off to the side, I got this already on. I'm letting this warm up. I like to let my scales warm up in advance. Never want to just turn on your scale and start dropping color right away. You can see our bullet flavors over here that we're going to be seating. It's the 123 grain ELDMs and SSTs. I also have the unobtainium right there, also known as small rifle primers. But I'm going to be using the 400, not the 450s, not the bench rest grade, just the regular 400 small rifle primers, CCI. Matter of fact, I just hooked up with 1,000, a brick of 1,000 at Shields yesterday. Believe it or not, they had some in stock. Boom! Right there. I got more primers you can shake a stick at. So stock up while you can, my friends, while the getting is good. So I could definitely feel that cutting excess brass off. So I kind of mentioned this before, regardless if it gets trimmed or not trimmed, especially if you are using a stainless steel wet tumbler, like I said, you'll get that peening in the case mouth opening. So regardless if it gets trimmed or not, you should always chamfer and deburr still. And if it doesn't get trimmed, but it still has some peening in the case mouth opening, you just want to lightly hit it on the chamfer deburr. You don't have to go hog wild crazy. But the main thing is, get back to this word consistency, consistent headspace bumps, consistent seating depths, and also consistent trim lengths. But you also want a consistent chamfer and deburr. It all really comes together and all starts to add up over time. If one is way off, they all fall. And this is actually the world's finest trimmer too. In my opinion, it's the bare minimum of what I would get for trimming brass. You can afford it, money's not an object. I look at the Ground Tri-Way trimmer or the benchtop trimmer from Ground. And if you just won the lottery, I'd definitely look at the Henderson Precision trimmer. That not only trims, but also chamfers and deburrs all in one step, rather than doing the 3 individual steps. So yeah, just like that, just did 50 pieces. And this is why I don't recommend buying a kit. Last thing you want to do is this stuff by hand, because otherwise you're going to have arthritis and trust me, you're going to hate yourself. So make sure you're doing this with a machine of some sort, whether it's a drill or a Tri-Way trimmer or something like that. That's it. So let me get this out of my way here, check some of your comments. So if you've got any questions or reloading, doesn't matter if it's for a Grundle or not, let yourself be known. Try my best to answer those questions. Let me get this out of the way. Now I'm done trimming. I need a bigger bench. As a matter of fact, I started building a reloading room and they're kind of put it to the sidelines because EP integrations. I've been so busy with that, with this lockdown block and everything. And for those that haven't seen this yet, just kind of show this to you once again. The EP integrations lockdown block that make it effective, just tip all these over if I want to make a mess out of them. And this will just cinch right up on those casings. And I can lock this down, or I can feather this off. I can adjust this however I want. So it's super easy to take in and out. And that's where this thing really shines. I'll go just under 223 all the way up to 375 shy tack. And we got that on our website right now, www.epintegrations.com. Not only for the reloading block, but the EP 2.0 annealer. Definitely check that out. Amazing products. Why both of these shine, and the reason why Scott Peterson and I designed them the way they are, is they adjust from the smallest of casings to the largest casings, even with the annealer. You don't have to add or remove any parts, and it will anneal from 300 blackout to, no joke, 50 BMG without having to add or remove any parts. And that adjusts in less than 30 seconds, and that adjusts in less than a second. So that's why it is awesome. So let me refresh these comments, make sure everyone's comments are showing up here. Get some water. All right. So Korak84 saying, yeah, I'm getting 4-inch groups with H4895 110 ELDX bullets. Do you think switching powders shrink that to get the MOA, blah blah blah? I've always said this: the bullet that you select is king. Before you look at powders, yes, it all comes together: the primer, the powder, how much bullet jump you use, how much headspace you're doing. But more times than not, just switching from one bullet to a different bullet before you even start playing around with different powders, powder drop rates. Just switching to a different bullet flavor can literally cut a group size in half. And I actually experienced that damn near every rifle I've ever owned. That's why I usually right out of the gate, I'll shoot different bullet flavors at different powder drop rates just to see how they print. And you'll be amazed. Like, for example, I'm shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm shooting 142 grain SM Sierra Match Kings with a boat tail. And maybe that board just doesn't like to print well with that particular bullet, and it's producing 1.5 to 2-inch groups. But I've seen this before. Just switching to a different bullet, something like 140 grain ELDMs, literally watch that group go from 1.5 inches down to 1/2 inch just by switching to the bullet. And then usually, regardless of the barrel harmonics, playing around with different powder drop rates, I could tell that that particular rifle's bore likes to shoot that particular bullet regardless of powder or powder drop rates. And then I'll start playing with different powder drop rates with the harmonics. And I have that Eric Cortina, where is it? Yeah, right here. I have the Eric Cortina adjustable tuner brake. So I'm excited to get that on this Krieger barrel. And you can play with the barrel harmonics along with your powder drop rates. And more times than not, you can change that rifle from a 2 MOA group rifle to 1/2 inch. And I've seen it before, and I've witnessed and experienced it before. But man, if you're starting at 4-inch groups, man, I would look at your bullet jumps. Like I said, Weatherby's and Remingtons are notorious for, no joke, bullet jumps over 1/8 of an inch. And if you're going out of the book in regards, if I take this as obviously a bolt action, hopefully you got the magazine size in there to not seat those bullets down so far. If you're seating those bullets at recommended coal or cartridge overall length, that's where I would start. I would try to extend those bullets out and try and get them closer to the lands of the rifle like I just shown. And more times than not, that will make a big difference. And I usually will start at about a 20,000th of an inch jump by using a bullet comparator. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I know if I grab one of these bullets here, you can put in a bullet comparator that will write off the bullet's ogive, and you can measure, and there's tons of videos on it. Just search on YouTube Hornady bullet comparator, and you can learn how to seat that bullet at the correct depth to have whatever type of jump you want, 20 thousandths, 10 thousandths, 40 thousandths, or no jump at all. By using these tools, you can play around that bullet jump. But sometimes your bullet jump might be so ginormous that you can just do what you can do. Sometimes you can only seat that bullet out so far. You still got to get it in the magazine unless you're single feeding. And that's something I would definitely look into their Core K84, and that's where I would start. Like I said, Weatherby's and Remingtons are notorious for ginormous bullet jumps. They just, they have humongous throats on them. So, making the ladies in the movie Deep Throat blush. So Larry Richardson saying, shouldn't those be in a safe? I take it you're talking about my powder and primers, and that's a big no. If you actually read Sammy's specs, they actually recommend you putting all your powder and primers in a wood crate. Last thing you want to do is put your powder and primers in a sealed cabinet. Obviously, you seal that cabinet and a fire starts in there, you're going to create what's also known as a BOMB. So that goes for anything that goes pop. Primers, powder, you got to make sure that they're in a non-sealed cabinet of some sort. And that also, you know, I'm in the basement, Wisconsin. I don't even run a humidifier. If you have house air conditioning, central air, I wouldn't use a dehumidifier in your reloading room. Dehumidifiers are notorious for starting fires. I can't tell you, if you're running a dehumidifier in your reloading room, you better make sure you got a good one. And I've heard a lot of horror stories of dehumidifiers starting fires, especially some people that are running them on extension cords, and those dehumidifiers are starting on fire, or the extension cords start on fire because the dehumidifier is drawing so many amperage and it's underrated on the extension cord or power strip or whatever they're using. So make sure, you know, as long as you got reasonable humidity, those primers are pretty resilient. I mean, if you're in southern Florida and you're fighting humidity, more times than not, you're going to have central air anyway, so I probably wouldn't worry about it. So, but you definitely don't want your propellants in a sealed cabinet. Matter of fact, like I said, Sammy Specs actually recommends putting all that in a wooden crate. If you don't believe me, you can Google it. Something to do with the burn rating, and the crate burns down, and if it does happen to explode, that crate is not sealed. And I don't know why they use a wood crate. I just use a metal cabinet that's got magnetic doors that I can easily open and shut. So definitely, you know, especially if you're putting them in a safe and you don't have something like a goldenrod in there. The goldenrod does not eliminate the humidity in your safe. It keeps the humidity in the safe from condensating on your firearms. That's all it does. Unless you're using those damn things that you plug into the wall, and it's got those little beads in there that sucks the moisture out of the air, which are a pain in the butt. That's why I like getting stainless steel barrels and everything I do, so I don't have to worry about that crap. I just don't worry about it. But like I said, you should not have your propellants in a sealed cabinet. So other than that, let's keep on going here. So I got to get some of these casings that have a harsh cut on them. I got to run it on the chamfer and deburr. I'm also going to make sure that the uniform primer pockets are run on the brush. You know, I got to clean this size and die from the last live vent, so I figured I'd show you at least how I do mine. So let me get you guys up close and personal here. So I like to clean these up every time I use them. Let me show you how I do it. Now, one thing you should have, everyone should have in their reloading room, in my opinion, is non-chlorinated brake cleaner. You know, I get this and it lasts forever for $2 at Menards. I think it's actually $1.98 or something. Don't quote me on that, but just make sure it's non-chlorinated. You don't want chlorine in that brake cleaner. It's just a really, especially if you got really gunked up dyes or whatnot you're cleaning. Usually I'll just run this in the inside. Also, another reason why I recommend using a kitchen countertop rather than a wood bench with a polyurethane finish is you can see I got brake cleaner right on this countertop, and that Formica top is super resilient to brake cleaner. Matter of fact, this is a permanent magic marker. Do that on your wood bench with a permanent red marker. Let me blow on this. So it's nice and dry. Got a little brake cleaner on my hand, but this is pretty dry. Try doing that on your your wood bench. So that's why I keep brake cleaner, not only to clean my dyes, but also clean my bench. That's why I recommend using kitchen countertop with a Formica top. You can't do this really with anything else that I know. Maybe then other stainless steel. That polyurethane finish would be shot right there. Brake cleaner. Must have in your reloading room. So anyway, I do general cleaning with brake cleaner. Get up the outside here. Get some Q-tips. Make sure you got some Q-tips around all the time. Just run this down around the perimeter, right down through the neck area. So you can see it's got some dirt in there. Some of that dirt, that was even brand new brass. So just clean these up. If you take care of your dyes, they'll take care of you. So I usually follow up with dry lube. I like this Hornady one-shot gun cleaner and lube. Just make sure you shake it up really good. And I usually will finish off with that. So don't use oil. Don't use something like this or CLP. I will follow up with dry lube. Get the outside. And if you don't want your dyes to rust, I highly recommend, if you want to do a little trick that I do, a little dry lube on here. So get this set up for my next reloading session. It's good to go. And then usually what I do is I store all of my dyes in a Ziploc bag. I put a little chunk of cardboard in there, spray some WD-40 inside, saturate that cardboard with WD-40. Store your dyes in that Ziploc bag with that WD-40 inside. And I've had these for years. There's not a speck of rust on these things. So just a little trick for some of you guys. I know some of you guys have seen that before, but I figured I'd just touch base with that with some of the guys that are new and just new to the channel. I'll set that off to the side here. And double check some of your comments. And we're going to keep the Elster's reloading train going here. All right, so throw that off to the side. All right, so get this out of the way. All right, so let's uniform the primer pocket. Open this up. Don't need this locked down. And at least I'm going to show you on the first one here. Get you up close and personal. All right, so, man, I got dry lube all over my hands. So what I like to do is just make sure the primer pockets are uniform, especially in this newer brass. Grab my brush here. That just makes sure that your primer seat's just below flush. This is chamfering the outside of the case mouth opening, eliminating any burrs on the outside of the case mouth, just so your rifle's chamber doesn't get damaged. That's about it. And then I'm going to chamfer the inside of the case mouth opening. So just a small chamfer in the case mouth opening, just so when I seat that bullet, it doesn't scratch or mar the jacket of the bullet, or rip the jacket clean off if it's really bad, really aggressive burr that might be hanging off there from trimming it. So it's just something like that. You can see I'm using my hand as a gauge, trying to keep this straight up and down, and that way I don't push down too hard. You don't have to go excessive on this. And then I run on the brush. And that's it. Now if it had something with crimp primers, I could remove the crimp with this RCBS crimp removal bit for both large and small, but these don't have crimp primer, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to do one more here, and then I'm going to back this off and go to town. Usually I wipe that off. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Get this tripod readjusted. That way you guys can see my beautiful face. All right, so let me just double check some of your comments here. Oh, let's see here. So Korak 84 said, yep, I've done that. I'll take one more shot with 20K jump and maybe a different powder. Thanks, man. Like I said, I would just try a completely different bullet. Bores, rifle bores. Let me just make sure I'm still live here. Yeah, okay, we're still good. Rifle bores are like fingerprints. If you went to Shields or Gander Mountain or whatnot, and they had an entire row, 20 of the same identical brand, model number rifles sitting there, all nice and pretty, each one will shoot different. The bore in every single one of those identical rifles, same manufacturer, same brand, same model number, those bores in each one is like a fingerprint. It's just like a human's, each one's different. Same with those bores. When they cut the rifling in those bores, and there's two different main methods of cutting rifling in a bore. Usually the more inexpensive route with inexpensive firearm, it's a button pull process where they pull a button through repeatedly and they cut out that rifling. Higher end barrels like Krieger's, like mine, or a Bartling barrel, they're usually rifle cut. They physically cut out the rifling. Each one is like a fingerprint. It doesn't matter if it's high end or low end, each one will shoot differently. And out of that example of 20 of the identical model, brand, you name it, one might like to shoot a particular bullet well, and you try to shoot that same identical bullet in the next one right next to it, and it might not shoot as well because maybe one has a little inconsistent feed ramps, like I was showing you the lands on it, where it accepts the bullet. Maybe one of those ramps is when maybe the bit was getting worn out for the boring process of the chamber. Maybe it was getting worn out, and one of the ramps are inconsistent to the next in regards to the lands of the bore. Or maybe one has a burr on one of the riflings, or if it's an AR, maybe the gas port is screwing up one of the riflings. You know, some like to be shot fouled, some don't like to be shot fouled. It's just, man, it just depends. And you're just not going to know until you get those bullet flavors down there. And that's where I would start, just trying different bullet flavors, see if you can find one that prints really well right out of the gate, and then start working with powder drops. And then after that, then go to jumps. Start playing with barrel harmonics. That's why I'm really excited about using the Eric Cortina tuner brake, so I don't have to screw around with powder drops as much. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least. Echoes Reloading Chamber saying good morning, officers and the clan. So I'm going to keep on going here, finish these up. And like I said, if you've got any questions, make yourself be known. Doesn't matter if it's 6.5 Grendel or any type of reloading. I'll try my best to answer them. I said I'm on vacation, and I figured I'd do this live, have you guys join me. So you can really feel some of these primer pockets if it's removing brass or not. And at this stage, when you're doing brass prep, you really want to make sure you baby those case mouth openings. You don't want to be, especially dropping one of these on the ground, denting the case mouth opening. You know, when I go to uniform this primer pocket, I can tell if it's removing brass or not. And if it is removing brass, I keep on going until I feel no more resistance on it. So I go to put this on here, I feel no resistance, that means it's already in spec. So I just move on. So chamfer the outside of the case mouth opening, chamfer the inside of the case mouth opening. Definitely make sure you run on the brush. Move on to the next piece. So Jason Wagoneer saying that brake is awesome. I just did my setting test last week and it was awesome. Yeah, and I can't wait to try that thing out. It is going to be awesome. Hopefully it kind of eliminates a good portion of my load development in regards to different powder drop rates and playing around with barrel harmonics. And if some of you guys aren't familiar with Eric Cortina's tuner brake, let me grab that once more. Not only is the brake to reduce felt recoil, but this part, the end of the brake, it turns out and turns back in. And how that works is it plays with the barrel harmonics. It shifts the weight of this nut out, it shifts the weight of the nut in. And it will play with the barrel's harmonics by doing such. You can see he's got little numbers on there, reference numbers. So you can start out at 0, take 2 or 3 shots, see how it groups, move it out to 1, take 2 or 3 more shots, see how it groups. And you can literally watch those groups shrink in size, and then they'll grow back in size, and they'll shrink back down because you're playing with the barrel's harmonics. Literally, when you fire that firearm, that barrel is like a plucked string on a guitar. It literally has a wave signature. You just can't see it because it's going so fast. But if you were to put it under high-speed film, you literally watch that barrel. It's not like a piece of spaghetti, but it will actually flex. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get that bullet to exit just as it's pointing straight forward, and then it will go up and then down. And that's why your groups grow and shrink if you play with a huge line of different powder drop rates. And that's the name of the game when you're dropping different powder drop rates or using Eric Cortina's tuner brake, is you're playing with your barrel's harmonics. So Jason's saying I posted the results of Sniper Side 308 for him. Man, I tell you this, if you are getting into reloading and you want some good information, not only just reloading, but anything, check out Sniper Side. I mean, that's actually kind of where I started. Matter of fact, that's where my name comes from, Elster. That was my forum name on Sniper Side. Guys back in the day, and when we were playing football, used to call me Elfster because my last name is Elfers. That's where I started my forum name on Sniper Side with Elsters, and that's where my channel name actually comes from. I actually was doing the I started the 6x5 closed groups, shooting one target, 6 total groups, 5 shots each, 30 shots shot in a row. Just it's kind of like drag racing to see how accurate your firearm and the reloads were on Sniper's Hide, and that's kind of how I got my start. That was back in 2002, I think, way back in the day, almost a decade ago. And my forum name on there is Elsters1234, I believe. That's where my channel gets its name. So apparently, this is something you want to keep an eye out for. Some of these casings have water in them. Apparently I didn't dry this enough. How do I know that? I'm about to show you. That sucks. I was hoping these would be dry so I could seat some primers, and I might have to do that some other day. But I just noticed some water on here. It's not a lot, but there is some water. It's a drip. It's a little drop of it. Matter of fact, you can see the water right there. That's telling me that some of these cases have water in them. That means I cannot seat primers. I'm going to have to throw all this brass back. I'll say that 5 times fast. Brass back in the Lyman Cyclone case dryer before I can seat these primers, which is fine. I think I'll just finish up this brass prep anyways, and then we'll shut this down. I'll do the seating primers, dropping powder, and seating bullets in a different session, because it's kind of getting long anyway, so that's fine. I was going to try and do all that right now, but this is getting long anyway. So like I said, we're just having fun, trying to spread the freedom knowledge here. So got to make sure that those primer pockets are absolutely bone dry. Last thing you want is any type of water in there. Jason Wagner is saying Google FBI barrel harmonics. They have a good video showing it. That's awesome. Thanks for spreading that knowledge. So yeah, if you're doing this and you see any water droplets, especially obviously if you're using a wet stainless steel tumbler, you're going to have to make sure that brass is dry before you seat those primers. So you got a water droplet in there, and you go to seat a primer and that water gets in that primer, there's a good chance that that primer might not go bang. So I'm going to finish up these 50 here, and I'm going to put this back on the Lyman Cyclone case dryer, and I think I'll wrap this up and I'll finish up the seating primers, dropping powder, and seating bullets in a different episode here. So it's getting long anyways. You know, like I said, man, taking a vacation where you just kind of do whatever you want in the morning, it's kind of some of the best vacations. You know, you're not specifically going to a specific location. Just kind of get up, do whatever the heck you want. Especially if I can spread the reload 'em freedom knowledge here with you guys. Make sure that my comments are refreshing here. So like I said, regardless if the brass gets trimmed or not, I still chamfer in the burr, regardless. Just to make sure you got a consistent chamfer in the burr on all your casings. Yeah, there's definitely some water in some of these casings. I didn't run that long enough, which is amazing because I ran it, pretty sure I ran it for like an hour and a half yesterday, but then again, it were sopping wet right out of the tumbler, and they sat there overnight too, so Apparently I didn't run it long enough. You can see on some of these when I'm running on the uniformer that I don't spend much time on it because I don't feel any brass getting cut out of it. Like I said, if I feel brass getting cut out of it, like this one I don't, I just move on. You can see I'm using my hand here. It's kind of a gauge so I don't go too deep on this. Also trying to keep this straight up and down. And make sure you baby those case mouth openings so you don't dent them. Yep, definitely got water on some of these. Not good, not good. Not the end of the world. Just another reloading morning. I usually do mine in batches, usually 50 or 100. It's pretty rare I ever do over 100 unless I'm doing like shit hit the fan type of situations with ammo. But you can see I got to do every single step here above and beyond just trimming. I'm going to show you something here, especially for some of you guys that are new, haven't seen this before. This damn Bluetooth keyboard. So if money is not an object, I highly recommend checking out the Henderson Precision trimmer. Case trimmer 3, Gen 3. So that's 440 bucks just for the trimmer. That's not including the motor. If you want to get the motor with it, it's expensive. Yeah, 780 bucks. But if you want the best of the best, for not only does this trim, but it chamfers the burrs. So it does this process, this and this all in one shot, and it saves you an insane amount of time. Plus it's obviously precision trimming and doing a precise, consistent is the key word, chamfer and deburr. Don't give those away. Otherwise, next step up from this would be the tri-way trimmer. They are specific in regards to, this will only do a particular type of cartridge. And I believe these are 100 bucks a crack, I think. Where's the price? Where's the price? Yeah, 105. And you got to get one for every single cartridge that you're, not only does this trim, but chamfers and deburr all in one shot. And they also have the bench top. So if you want a little bit higher end than this, the power trimmer, right there. So like you got to get different inserts. This can get kind of pricey too. I think if you're going to go to this extreme, you can see they don't give you this away either. And you know, if you're going to go to this point, I think I would just get the Henderson Precision personally. You already run the marathon at that point. You might always just finish it off. So that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, let me just double check your comments. Otherwise, if you got any comments, just let yourself be known. And if you're just joining us, and just touch base with this, I'm getting some brass ammo reloaded here for this. A 12-inch pistol length upper in 6.5 Grendel. And I'm going to marry that up with the lower that I've been using on my 5.56 AR pistol, and this I'm using the same lower also on my 7.62 by 39 10.5 inch AR pistol. So I'm going to use the same lower on the 7.62 by 39, 5.56, and now my 6.5 Grendel that has a pistol brace. And that's where, you know, you can use the same lower in all three of them. It makes just awesome. You just buy a different upper. You don't have to buy a whole separate lower. You just use the same lower, and it works really good. But let me just double check, make sure if any of you guys got any other questions, let yourself be known. Otherwise, I'm going to finish this up and wrap this up. So like I said, if you got any questions, let them rip now. I'll try my best to answer them before I head out here. So about halfway through. So Pony 47 saying 13 watching, only 10 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Yeah. Smash that thumbs up, my friends. Try my best to spread the Reload of Freedom knowledge here for you guys, especially those guys that are new. And like I said, I just having fun. Figured I'd have you guys join me on this reloading adventure. And eventually you're going to see Scott and he's going to shoot his 20-inch Grendel. I'm going to shoot my 12-inch Grendel. And not only we're going to shoot these reloads, but I got a ton of Wolf steel case 6.5 Grendel that I'm going to shoot also in that series. And that would most likely be an edited video. So yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be the ultimate deer hunting rig, especially for brush hunting at 300 yards or less. I've talked to guys, the 12-inch 6.5 Grendel easily can reach out supersonic. At least one of the guys mentioned here, out to 900 yards, which is, try and do that with a 7.62 by 39. That ain't happening. That's where the BC, the superior bullet coefficient of the 6.5 bullet, is really coming into play here. And that's why I'm so excited about this. It's going to be kind of a dual type of firearm. I mean, like, very short, very lightweight. It's using, obviously, a small AR-15 platform, not AR-10. Combining that small AR-15 platform with a short barrel, 12 inches, that thing is going to be insanely lightweight. Easy to drag in and out of the woods. I mean, it just should be awesome, especially in the Wisconsin woods here, where most guys are not shooting over 150, 200 yards. I mean, it's pretty rare to shoot over 200 yards, unless you're on the edge of a cornfield and might be shooting maybe 300 yards. But still, even if it's 300, 400, 500 yards, it's still not going to be an issue with this 12-inch 6.5 Grendel. I feel pretty confident. Like I said, I haven't shot it yet, but I'd be amazed if it doesn't consistently print groups at 500 yards, just because it's a 12-inch barrel. It's just going to be all about hunting down that particular bullet that 12-inch barrel likes to shoot. I just wish I had more bullet flavors to test on this. Like I said, I only have 2, so I'm kind of crossing my fingers, hoping that these SSTs and ELDMs will show you here quick. Those haven't seen this yet. I'm hoping that these 2 different bullet flavors shoot well in regards to these 123 grain SSTs and ELDMs. All right, so we got 20 left. I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, if you got any questions, you better let them rip right now. Otherwise, I'm going to shut this down here really soon. I'm going to get this brass back onto the Lyman cycling case dryer, because I'm seeing a little bit of water in some of these case mouths. And I'm hoping that upper is here early next week. They said they're going to ship it out next week, so hopefully I get it here early. Being that I'm on vacation, if I can get that early, hopefully like Tuesday, Wednesday. I know I got a wedding next following weekend, so I'm not going to have time to do that following weekend. And thank God that that thing has an adjustable gas block on it. I was actually going to buy an adjustable gas block, but the fact that that 12-inch upper comes with an adjustable gas block, that's a low profile gas block, that's awesome. And they actually have complete firearms. I think they have one, I think complete with the lower. Man, I want to say it's like $900, I think, right now. It's under $1,000, I know that. Comes with the SBA free. Man, like I said, I already got the lower. Wow, this one I can really feel that brass getting cut out of that primer pocket. Like I said, I got the lower. I got the magazines. Matter of fact, I just had Duramag send me a slew of magazines, and I'm probably going to test that out along with my Elander mags. So, got these Duramags here. They sent me 2 of these 26 rounds, and this is a 10 round. I think I got a 5 round or 2. But I also have the Elanders, which I'm be honest with you, I'm not totally impressed with the Elanders. I know Scott hooked up with the AR Stoners. Because if you watch that series, this series on my 6.5, so it's this series here. It is a very extensive series. I mean, it's insane how extensive this series is. This one right there, that's on my 18-inch. So better not play that too much live, otherwise YT will freak out. But anyways, this is super extensive series in regards to the overview, reloading for it, doing follow-up load development, all the way to hunting down a pet load for it and getting some sub-MOA accuracy out of this very inexpensive PSA rifle. And this has damn near 22,000 views, so I definitely check it out, man. If you're starting to reload and you're trying to get understanding and now you're reloading, but the process of doing load development and all that, man, definitely check out that whole series. It is insanely full of information. Definitely check that out, especially if you're, it doesn't matter if it's 6.5 Grendel or 223 or whatever. It doesn't even matter if it's for a bolt action. It's just, the only difference is play around 2 different headspace bumps for a bolt action and AR. They're both, in my opinion, should be full length for sized anyways. Just do a headspace bump of 1 to 2,000th of an inch for a bolt action, and maybe 3 to 4,000th of an inch for an AR. That's really the only difference. So if you're starting out, you watch that whole series start to finish, every single minute, you're going to learn a lot, just not on reloading, but load development. Trying to hunt down what to do in regards to finding what bullet, what powder drop rate. Not so much playing around with jumps on that because it's an AR. You usually get to play around with jumps a lot more with a bolt action in comparison to an AR. Because a lot of times you're restricted to maximum magazine length with an AR. Usually those bolt actions have a much more forgiving magazine, or especially if you're single feeding them, you can really extend that bullet seating depth out. So you got little to no jump. It just depends if your rifle likes to have a jump or not. So we're coming down. We got 10 left. Like I said, if you got questions. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up here very, very soon. I'm going to get this back into the cyclone case dryer. Like I said, seeing some water on some of these. Apparently, I didn't dry it long enough. And in the next live series, most likely tomorrow morning, if I have time, I will seat primers and drop powder with the FX120i and seat bullets. Brass prep sucks. Don't do it by hand. That's why I advise not buying a kit. Always part out your reloading equipment. I was definitely cutting out some brass on that one. Usually you don't have to uniform every single time. Unless you got dirty primer pockets, those uniformer will definitely clean up those primer pockets for you. So a lot of times I'll use a uniformer, not just the uniform, but just to clean up the primer pocket. It does an exceptional job of doing that. If you got a dirty primer pocket, you can definitely clean those up with that uniformer. All right, we got 4 left to go. Either you love to reload or you hate to reload. Well, never got anyone in the middle. And that's it. So I'm going to wrap this up here. And if you guys enjoy my content, you enjoy my videos, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. When you hit notification, make sure you hit notification all. That way you guys are getting those notifications. Otherwise, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to wrap this up here and get this brass back in case dryer. That's where this Lyman Case Prep Center really shines. Just sweep that brass right back in there. Like I said, notice some of this has water in the case mouse at the base of the brass. I'm going to get this back in here, at least for another probably hour. I'm going to go do something else. Make sure these are bone dry before I seat the primers. I'll see you guys in a future video.